The earnings season is upon us, and we take a look at the pre-earnings numbers provided by Bajaj Finance, RBL Bank, and AU Small Finance Bank. We start off with Bajaj Finance. Bajaj Finance has seen a strong set of numbers, at least in terms of pre-earnings. So there has been strong new customer acquisitions as well as a very strong loan growth seen by the company. In terms of new customer acquisitions, the number of new customers added have doubled up on a year-on-year basis. The Bajaj Finance has created 2.4 million new customers, which is a 28% growth on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Of course, 2x that on a year-on-year basis. This is the highest in a quarter in terms of customers acquired since Q3 of FY20. In Q3 of FY20, Bajaj Finance had acquired around 2.46 million customers, so not so far away. With regard to the overall customer franchise, how it's looking right now, Bajaj Finance has around 5.28 crore customers from the just above 5 crore customers it had at the start of the quarter. And on a year-on-year basis, this has gone up 20%. So a good solid set of numbers for Q2 of FY22. Moving on, in terms of new loans, Bajaj Finance has booked around 6.3 million new loans, which is the highest again since Q3 of FY20. In terms of the AUM size, the consolidated AUM was up 5% quarter on quarter. Mind you, this growth number was at 4% in Q1 of FY22, and on a year-on-year basis, the consolidated AUM has gone up 22%, and that number stood at 15% at the end of Q1 of FY22. Now, moving on to AU Small Finance. Again, even AU has seen a strong uptick. Gross AUM growth has improved to 24% year-on-year from 22% year-on-year in Q1 of FY22. Gross loan growth stood at around 32% year-on-year growth versus 31% in Q1. Gross loans on a quarter-on-quarter basis has grown 5% versus a decline of 2% in Q1. Mind you, some of that was obviously due to the second wave. Disbursements excluding ECLGS, and this one is a really good one, saw strong growth of 73% on a year-on-year basis. Just seeing how fast and what kind of growth AU is seeing in terms of disbursements. Sequentially, disbursements were up 3x. So this particular quarter saw a burst of growth in terms of disbursements. Of course, that is largely due to wave 2. The disbursements were up 3x to around 5,050 crores. Restructuring has moderated sharply, is down to around 8 crores in Q2 of FY22. Now the overall restructured pool stands at around 1,400 crores, which is around 4% of the gross loans disbursed. Collection efficiencies are above the 100% mark, which is good news and obviously signals reopening has happened quite well for AU Small Finance. Moving on to RBL, a very average set of numbers for RBL. Gross loans were absolutely flat on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Mind you, in Q1 of FY22, there was a 2% decline in terms of gross loans, which means that for RBL, things have not entirely recovered. On a year-on-year basis too, growth was muted. It's around 1% growth on a year-on-year basis. In terms of retail loans have moved lower from 57% in the last quarter to 55% in this quarter. And deposits grew 1% quarter on quarter. This compares with 0.8% of growth within the system as a whole. CASA deposits grew around 33% on a year-on-year basis versus 35% on a year-on-year basis in Q1 of FY22. And the CASA ratio has improved a bit versus the last quarter. Last quarter's CASA was around 33.7%. The current CASA is at 35.4%, a good solid 170 basis point gain. So mixed set of average numbers for RBL Bank as well. That's a roundup from all these three companies.